Have you ever been overlooked for a promotion, not because of your lack of ability, but because you let doubt hold you back? Maybe you hesitated to speak up in meetings or failed to push past comfort to build the skills that would set you apart. But what if you decided today to change? Imagine a version of you that no longer hesitates, that commands attention, that embodies resilience and self-mastery. The ancient Stoics knew transformation wasn't about waiting for the right moment. It was about making a decision and acting on it every day. Today is that decision. Stay with me to the end, because I will give you a blueprint, a path inspired by Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus that will change your life. If you're ready to reclaim your strength and forge a new identity, hit that subscribe button and let's begin. Step 1. Release what no longer serves you. We spend so much energy on things beyond our control, worrying about what others think, regretting the past, and fearing the future. But what if you could let go of all that? The Stoics taught that real power comes from relinquishing illusions of control. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Look at Theodore Roosevelt. Before becoming one of the most influential American presidents, he was a sickly child, constantly ridiculed for his frailty. Instead of surrendering to circumstances, he adopted the Stoic principle of controlling what he could. He rebuilt himself, mentally and physically, through sheer discipline and unshakable will. By the time he led a nation, he was unrecognizable from the weak boy he once was. Now, take inventory of your own life. What drains you? Toxic relationships, negative thoughts, bad habits? Remove them. This isn't just theory, it's survival. Imagine a man shackled by the need for external validation, spending years trying to please others. One day, he internalized the Stoic dichotomy of control, focusing only on what he could change. In 3 months, his confidence skyrocketed. The weight of unnecessary stress lifted, and he finally felt free. When you free your mind from external noise, you create space for inner clarity. The goal is not to control everything, but to master your own response. As Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." True freedom begins the moment you take back your power. Step 2. Build mental resilience through discomfort. Comfort is the enemy of progress. The greatest men and women throughout history understood this. Seneca practiced voluntary hardship, fasting, sleeping on the floor, not because he had to, but to remind himself that luxury was not a necessity. He trained his mind and body to thrive in discomfort, knowing that adversity forges resilience. Consider David Goggins, a modern embodiment of Stoic endurance. A man once overweight and trapped. In self-pity, he transformed himself into an elite Navy SEAL through sheer willpower. He ran on broken legs, pushed his body beyond human limits, and embraced suffering as a gateway to strength. His philosophy? Callous the mind. And this is what we must do. Take cold showers, push yourself in the gym, wake up early and work before the world stirs. The more you expose yourself to controlled discomfort, the stronger you become. Comfort breeds stagnation. Hardship creates warriors. A 40-year-old executive found himself stuck, mentally and physically. He introduced voluntary discomfort into his life, daily fasting, waking up before sunrise, challenging workouts. The result? 3 months later, he had mental clarity, boundless energy, and newfound confidence. He became someone he barely recognized, someone he respected. The Stoics saw hardship as training. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Seneca. When you willingly walk into the fire of discomfort, you do not burn. You forge yourself into something stronger, something unstoppable. We must choose suffering now, so that life cannot impose suffering upon us later. Step 3. Shift from complaint to action. Every moment spent complaining is a moment wasted. Instead of saying, "This situation is unfair," ask, "What can I do?" The world does not pause for our grievances, nor does it cater to our frustrations. Epictetus believed that suffering is not derived from events themselves, but from how we interpret them. The Stoics knew that power is not in lamentation, but in action. Consider Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor who endured unimaginable horrors in Nazi concentration camps. Stripped of everything, his family, his dignity, his freedom, he realized the one thing his captors could not take: his response. He chose to find meaning in suffering, to turn inward and harness his mind as a fortress. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves, he wrote. And so he did. He emerged from the darkness with a newfound purpose, teaching millions that even in the face of adversity, we control our own fate. A middle-aged man struggling with his career found himself stuck, blaming external forces for his stagnation. One day, he made a conscious decision to reject self-pity and embrace self-improvement. He trained relentlessly, sharpened his skills, and developed an indomitable mindset. Within months, he secured a better job and built a foundation of confidence that no longer relied on circumstances but on personal discipline. The world owes you nothing, but you owe yourself action. Complaints are passive. Action is transformative. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." We must stop waiting for the world to change and instead become the force that changes our own reality. Step 4. Embrace mortality awareness. The most powerful Stoic practice. Memento Mori, the constant awareness of death. It's not morbid, it's liberating. When we embrace the reality of our mortality, we strip away the illusions of endless time and false priorities. What remains is raw urgency, a burning need to act, to improve, to live without hesitation. Consider Steve Jobs, a man who faced death in the form of cancer. When he was diagnosed, he famously said, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life." He did not retreat in fear. He used mortality as fuel to create, innovate, and live deliberately. His awareness of death gave him the courage to pursue what truly mattered. Now, reflect on Theodore Roosevelt, a man who lived as if every day could be his last. After losing his wife and mother on the same night, he did not crumble. He sought purpose through action. He traveled to the Badlands, embraced hardship, and built himself into a force of nature. He understood that life was not to be wasted in self-pity, but seized with unrelenting will. Imagine someone in their 50s, trapped in a stagnant routine. Then they experience a sudden loss. A close friend passes away unexpectedly. Instead of drowning in grief, they use it as a wake-up call. They leave behind their empty routine, pursue a lifelong passion, and reconnect with the people who truly matter. 3 months later, they have built a life of purpose and fulfillment. The Stoics didn't fear death. They used it to sharpen their purpose. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Marcus Aurelius. We must stop waiting for the perfect time to act. The time is now. Live fully. Not tomorrow, but today. Step 5. Master emotional detachment. True freedom comes from not being controlled by emotions. Stoicism teaches us to feel deeply, but to act rationally. The moment we allow our emotions to dictate our decisions, we relinquish control of our lives. It is not about suppressing emotions, but mastering them. using them as tools rather than shackles. Consider Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, who faced betrayal, war, and immense personal loss. Despite having the authority to retaliate in anger, he chose wisdom over wrath. He wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Likewise, a modern business owner who faced betrayal from a trusted partner didn't react with rage. Instead, he embraced Stoic detachment, analyzing the situation calmly and making strategic decisions that preserved his future. Another powerful example comes from the life of George Washington. During the early days of the American Revolution, Washington's leadership was constantly questioned, and betrayal from those he trusted was not uncommon. Yet, he never allowed emotions to cloud his judgment. Instead of reacting with anger, he exercised restraint, maintaining his focus on the long-term vision. His ability to master his emotions under extreme pressure helped shape the foundation of a new nation. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Seneca. Most of our pain stems not from the events themselves, but from our perception of them. We must rise above fleeting emotions and focus on what we can control. The path to inner strength is paved with self-restraint, discipline, and an unshakable mind. If we can master our emotions, we can master our fate. We are not slaves to impulse. We are architects of our own destiny. Step 6. Develop a Stoic journaling habit. Reflection is key to transformation. The Stoics, including Marcus Aurelius, journaled daily to evaluate their actions and refine their thoughts. They understood that self-awareness was the cornerstone of self-mastery. Without reflection, we remain trapped in cycles of impulsiveness and regret, forever repeating the same mistakes. Consider Benjamin Franklin, one of America's founding fathers. He followed a strict regimen of daily journaling, asking himself each morning, "What good shall I do today?" And each night, "What good have I done today?" This simple habit allowed him to remain accountable, continuously improve, and live with intention. Like Franklin, we too must interrogate our own actions to shape a stronger version of ourselves. Another striking example is Marcus Aurelius himself, who, despite being the most powerful man in Rome, took time every night to reflect in his personal writings. His meditations stand as a testament to the fact that no one is above self-examination, not even an emperor. He once wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself, a principle we must adopt to truly grow." Each night, write about your day, what went well, what could improve, and how you responded to challenges. Be brutally honest. Recognize your emotional weaknesses, document where you failed to exercise discipline, and commit to correcting these behaviors. Over time, this practice will forge a mind that is unshakable. Self-examination fosters self-mastery. An unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates, if we do not question ourselves, how can we ever improve? The Stoic does not fear self-criticism, but embraces it as a weapon against complacency. Journaling is not just a habit. It is an act of war against mediocrity, a battle cry for self-discipline, and a roadmap to mastery over the self. The stronger our minds become, the less we are swayed by fleeting emotions. We stand firm, prepared for whatever life throws at us. Step 7. The power of service. Stoicism isn't just about self-improvement, it's about contributing to the world. True mastery of the self is proven in how we serve others. The greatest measure of strength is not what we take, but what we give. When we dedicate ourselves to something greater, we transcend fleeting desires and connect with something eternal. Consider Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king of Rome, who bore the weight of an empire with grace and discipline. Amid wars and betrayals, he never succumbed to selfishness, but instead focused on his duty to his people. He wrote, "What we do now echoes in eternity," emphasizing that our actions, especially those in service to others, shape our legacy. Similarly, in modern times, Fred Rogers, the beloved creator of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, embodied the Stoic principle of service. He spent his life teaching kindness, emotional resilience, and self-discipline to generations of children. Though he lived humbly, his work uplifted millions, proving that true fulfillment comes from lifting others. No man can live happily who considers himself alone and turns everything to his own advantage. You must live for your neighbor if you would live for yourself. Seneca. The greatest burden is a life lived only for oneself. Service is not an obligation. It is the path to a deeper existence, a force that transforms not just the lives of others, but our own souls in the process. Through service, we do not just leave a mark on the world, we fortify our own character, becoming unshakable in the face of life's trials. 3 months from now, you will either look back with pride or with regret. The choice is yours. Will you stay the same, trapped in routine and excuses, or will you take the Stoic path, releasing what holds you back, embracing discomfort, taking action, and living with purpose? If you're ready for this transformation, let me know in the comments. What's one habit you will change starting today? Remember, transformation doesn't happen in the future. It starts now. Subscribe. Stay disciplined, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's walk this path together.